What's up, UCF fans? This is Brian Smith, publisher of Inside the Knights, and I have a little bit of a recruiting update. Just going to go over some of the players that were on campus, and it's a pretty unique list. I'll save the best for last, but this is a list that kind of goes over what UCF's trying to do from a balanced approach. They're trying to consistently stay with prospects that have already been on campus or prospects that they know they have a good shot with. And of course, you're always trying to get in on a few other guys, whether it's early or whether it's a prospect that committed to another school, etc. Recruiting never ends. So with that being said, let's get to it. First prospect is from Nice High School in the greater Jacksonville area. He is from Point Vedra Beach, and that's Grant Stevens. Tight end. He's very highly sought after prospect here in the state of Florida, and he's a player that UCF has had on campus before. This is a flex tight end, but he could also be an inline tight end, meaning attached to the offensive tackle, and he can do either role. He's the type of kid that you want around your program. That's what I've been told, and I don't see any reason for that to change based on the knowledge that I have of him. So I don't really know what his timeline is. I'm waiting to hear back from him. I sent him a message a little while ago. But this is a situation where if you get a kid on campus more than once, it's usually a good sign. Doesn't matter the program, doesn't matter the level. Multiple visits, good sign. So with that, Grant Stevens is a player that UCF fans should know about. Next up, Jamal Johnson. He's already committed to the Knights. He has been to campus multiple times. It's good to have him back on campus. I actually messaged with him just a little bit last night. And he's a young man that is a defensive end from Chaminade Madonna, just outside Fort Lauderdale. And I do believe that he's a kid that's about as dialed in with UCF as you're going to be. They need defensive linemen, so that's good news. Obviously, he's committed. It's not binding or anything like that. So his ability to take visits elsewhere is certainly an option for him. But he's dialed in with UCF. So great kid and a big pickup for the Knights, Jamal Johnson from Chaminade Madonna. The other kid that is a visitor for more than one time would be Jordan McDonald. He's a running back from Milton High School in Alpharetta. It's just north of Atlanta, Georgia. This is one of the Knights' big recruiting targets at the running back position. He is being ardently recruited by Tennessee and other programs around the South. And quite frankly, I have no idea what he's going to do, and I'm not sure that he did either, at least prior to this visit. I'll wait to hear back from him as well. But this is a 6'1", 220-pound running back that can really pound the football between the tackles. Considering how Gus Malzahn and his offense really likes to play the power zone, and they like to use everything in their power to get guys in space based on that play, just running inside zone, running gap, or whatever you might run. We'll see what he wants to do here at UCF, but they're going to run it between the tackles. This young man fits what they're trying to do. Not just talent, but fit is very important. So UCF going after him is not a surprise to me, watching his film several times. Again, 6'1", 220 pounds. And he has some pretty good speed, too. Once he reaches the second level, McDonald has the ability to go into another gear and get going. Now, I don't think he's as twitchy as some of your 5'9", 180-pound guys. He's not going to go laterally quite like they do. But it is, one of those things where you have to be who you are, and beating up on guys and running over them is just fine. So anyway, Jordan McDonald would be a big pickup for UCF, and it's good news that he came to campus again. The next kid is also from the greater Atlanta area, but he beats up on kids for a different reason. Zachariah Owens, he's only a class of 2023 prospect. When I looked him up, I didn't really know much about him. Eagles Landing Christian. It is a program in McDonough, Georgia, just southeast of Atlanta, about 20 miles. And to be really honest with you, this is just a massive, massive young man. Listed at 6'7", 345. Watching the film, I don't know if he's a legit 6'7", but he's 6'5", 6'6" anyway. And he absolutely has good feet at that size. Being that big at that age is not uncommon anymore, especially like Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi area. They have a lot of massive kids. But to have the feet that he does is truly unique. UCF has already offered this young man, and I can see why. Once his film starts to circulate, he's going to get a ton of offers. He's good enough to play wherever. The thing about him that's unique for a kid his age, beyond just having the athletic skills, would be the fact that he's been coached some. There's some basic plays that they run that most high school offensive linemen, even as a junior or senior, struggle with. Double team, moving to the second level, or going underneath a guy and going to the second level, taking on a linebacker, not overshooting yourself with getting your hands out over your feet and being unbalanced. He does a pretty good job. Now, I'm sure there are things he needs to clean up. I mean, he's 15, 16 years old. But for his age, Owens is quite adept at finding the ways around players that he needs to get around. If he needs to go through somebody, that's certainly not a problem. And bottom line, athlete. I don't say that term a lot when it comes to offensive linemen, but this kid truly is. A lot of them are just what I like to call ogres, meaning guys that are just power players, especially interior guys that can move people against their will. And that's very important too, but this guy can do either. He can play in space. He could be a guy that could help you on a bubble screen. And he is definitely a player that can play left tackle despite his size. Very rare. So again, he has 2 more years of high school. So good luck to the teams at that level, because unless they changed classification, that's a 1A school in Georgia. So they always have a lot of kids that are good, and they've won a lot of state titles. So Eagles Landing Christian Academy, once again, with another truly high-end recruit. So Zachariah Owens is one to remember. A junior college player that was supposed to be on campus, and quite frankly, I don't know much about yet, Quincy Mahome. He's a defensive back at a Butler Community College. If my memory serves me correctly, that is in Kansas. And that's a program that's had players, basketball, football, forever. It's just one of those programs. If you recruit JUCOs, you recruit Butler. That's been around 30, 40 years. They've had kids. So anyway, I'm going to look into him. So kind of remember that name, Quincy Mahome. I don't know much about him yet, but I need to look into him. The last one is the biggest news of the group, assuming he actually made it. This is a kid that does not do media. I mean, he just doesn't do interviews and stuff with a lot of people, if at all. And now that we're right before the football season starts, most of the players like him that, quite frankly, get asked to be interviewed all the time, they just shut it down anyway. So his name is Emmanuel Henderson. He's a running back from Hartford, Alabama, Geneva County. He is committed to the University of Alabama, and he is one of the top 50 players in the country by anybody's account, and some think he's top 15, top 20. Long strider, think of in terms of skill level, Henderson and his build. He reminds me, I'm not saying he's the same player, but he reminds me his build and the way he runs of Eric Dickerson from back in the day. And I would have to say that his best attribute, despite his speed in the open field, is his penchant for contact. One of the things that's unique about that is most guys, and he doesn't play against good competition. I'll throw that out there. He plays in a remote area of Alabama. He would just find a way around guys, always run around. This young man will hit you in the mouth and go through. That's something that not every running back does, regardless of level, and especially running backs that have the kind of speed this young man has. Can he deliver that at the next level? That's the ultimate question, and that's the question for every running back. How much durability will you have if you're a power guy? He's about 190 pounds, give or take, 6'1", and he's a long strider. If he gets to the second level, once Emmanuel Henderson hits the second level, if you don't have a direct beat on him, you're probably not going to catch him. He can go. Absolutely can run, and that's why he's a national recruit. He could literally call any school in the country, Ohio State, Alabama, does not matter, and he can go there. He's that good. So for UCF to get him on campus, just from the perspective of having a visit lined up with him, and that's assuming he actually showed up. I was just told he was coming. I probably won't be able to confirm that because he's probably not going to answer. But assume he came, that's big for UCF. And it shows two things. Number one, UCF recruiting has changed and it's elevated itself definitively. Number two, UCF getting kids like this on campus is their mentality as a coaching staff and as a program. We are not a non-Power 5 schools. That's not how they view themselves, and that is not the objective. Gus Malzahn has made it very clear in a camp that I've been to when he's around talking or whatever, the goal is to win a national championship. Period. You're not going to do that without guys like Emmanuel Henderson. He changes your program from a perception standpoint. And of course, you put him in the backfield. That kind of helps too. So just something to think about. Emmanuel Henderson, he is a very special player, Geneva, Alabama. And I can't imagine that that's going to go too well in Tuscaloosa, but what are you going to do about it? You're going to tell him he can't come? So it's interesting because Alabama's like any other program. Kids decommit, kids take other visits, et cetera. You have to deal with it. So it'll be interesting to see what Alabama does once word gets out. So that's it for this episode. UCF had some good visitors on campus. I expect some more coming up pretty quick with the fall camp getting ready to start. August is almost here. That means, thank goodness, college football is almost upon us. We're just over a month from the first game. So please take a moment and like, subscribe. I'm going to have a ton of videos in regards to UCF recruiting, talking UCF football. I'm going to do some position group stuff for the team coming up, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So you can find me on YouTube, and you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter. It's not very difficult. If you want to find me on Twitter, that's probably the best way because I've got the most stuff there. It is at FBScout_Florida. That is at FBScout_Florida. That's my main account. From there, you can find my other accounts too. It's pretty fun to be a part of this. I'm really enjoying it. So hope everybody has a great day. Brian Smith, publisher of Inside the Knights. Thank you very much.